for success. We learn from teachers who create tailored lesson plans
and collaborate with classmates from diverse backgrounds.
As a result, many of us outperform students in traditional public schools.
And we all walk away better prepared for our futures.
Learn more at wacharters.org. Paid for by Washington State Charter Schools Association.
Rainier Avenue Radio presents All Music, All Day Saturday. Music, all day Saturday.
This is Edward Bailey, Bulldog Blue.
Jazz from the Capitals.
That's right. It's time once again for Jazz from the Capitals.
Start time.
Thanks for tuning in. My name is Paul. This is Start Time.
Saturdays, all music, all day. Reggae Hour, K-Fox Night.
You looking for the perfect beat? Yeah, it's the beat of the vibe.
Fresh Juice, D-Money in there.
Myself, T Money. License from
Taylor Hart. Spencia, the Northwest Rap Gang.
DJ Medina. Jackson. Northwest Rap Gang.
Sergio Lacour's Love Line.
It's Sergio's Love Lines with Sergio Lacour. Go to the phone lines. Hello.
Sea Monster Radio, Mojang. It's your day.
Welcome to Mojang Mondays. This is KZ, KB Music Media. Caller Goddess for Mojang Mondays.
Just like God is inspiration all day and all night. Saturdays. Rainier Avenue Radio App.
Seattle Opera presents the world premiere of Jubilee. Jubilee follows the historic Fisk Jubilee Singers' initial tours following the Civil War. While raising funds for the fledgling Fisk University, the group shared their music around the world, showcasing more than 40 African-American spirituals such as Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, Deep River, and Wade in the Water. Jubilee is not to be missed. October 12th through 26th at McCaw Hall. Details at seattleopera.org.
Rainier Avenue Radio.
It's 7 o'clock on the dot. You're not in your drop top. It's too cold, but it's never too cold for LidLine Sports. Let's go. Hey, welcome everybody to LidLine Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. I am Pep, and my man O is on board. What's happening, O?
What up, Pepster? How you doing, man?
I'm good. We had a little bit of warmth today.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think this might be the last of the 70s as far as temperature is concerned.
Yeah, it was good while we had it this weekend. Nice little sun out there. It was pretty good weather. I got to get outside a little bit, but yes.
Did you? Okay, cool. Did you watch some games?
Yes. I watched a little bit of Michigan and UW, of course. Really good game. Got to watch Alabama get upset. And of course, I know we'll get into this later, but I got to see the Seahawks.
Yes, we'll definitely get into the NFL and baseball players playoffs and the WNBA as well. But you know what? I'm glad you started off with the Michigan Washington. Let's go ahead and start with the college football. So we're in what, week 5 or 6 of week 5, I guess. 6? Yeah, week 6. Week 6, I think, in college football.
Coming up on week 7. That was
right.
Week 6. Yep.
So the Dogs are 4-2 with a nice win on Saturday. Who did you have in that game, by the way?
Oh, I'm not going to lie. Early on in the week, I thought Michigan was going to win. And, I just thought that UW has been so methodical on offense. And we know Michigan's a great defensive team. I didn't know if they were going to put up enough points to cover it. But then I started to think as the weekend went by, Michigan just got a big win. The week before, UW's at home, who just lost. They're coming in hungry. So I started to lean towards possibly UW, but I think about time it got to kickoff, it was either or. But I was glad to see UW, and not really much surprises, like I said, as the week gone on, that UW won. It's just how it goes when it comes to sports. And I don't know. I'm up and down with UW. I do like them. I won't say I love UW, but I do like them, and they are coming into their own. But like I said, I've watched Michigan play probably maybe twice this season. I don't even know why I was so high on Michigan.
Well, they're ranked 10th in the nation, so it's hard.
Yeah, and I know they just beat USC, but I'm not really too impressed with USC either. But I think over the last 2 weeks, UW offensively had me a little shaken. I think that's what had caused me to think that Michigan was going to pull it off. But they ran the ball really well, which is going to be their bread and butter this season, and they looked really good offensively against a really good defense in Michigan.
Right, and like I mentioned before, Michigan was ranked number 10.
Yeah.
So I had them coming in here and beating Washington. I didn't know how close or if it would be, an easy win or anything like that. But I thought that Michigan would be victorious. But turns out, especially after the way Washington kind of, flubbed it at Rutgers in New Jersey the week before, was kind of disappointing. Because, I can't stand bipolar teams that do so well at home and go on the road and you don't even recognize who they are.
Yeah.
I can't stand that. It drives me nuts. Because if you're a good team, you can win at home and on the road. Now, I'm not saying you got to win every road game, but you should beat teams that are inferior to you, whether you're home or on the road. And so, that was disappointing to me. And, they had a chance numerous times, but they made some costly penalties, made some silly mistakes, and they let the running back, I forget his name by now, just run all over them. And what's going on with these Seattle football teams, just allowing running backs you never heard of just run all over the place. Yep. We'll get into the Seahawks later. I don't want to jump ahead, but man, it's just so frustrating to watch that. But Donovan Edwards from Michigan is legit. I was worried because we already saw what he did in the national championship game, and fortunately, Blake Corum graduated, and so he's an LA Ram, if I'm not mistaken. I was glad he wasn't still here, because if they still had him with Donovan Edwards, it wouldn't have been close.
Yeah, and also
Michigan's got a little conundrum though, right, at quarterback now, right?
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. That helped with UW. That Michigan is still in week 5 trying to find who their starting quarterback will be down the road. Alex Orji started, but Jack Tuttle was the starting quarterback to start the season, and Alex Orji, I think, has been starting the last couple of games. So,
right.
But Alex Orji came out, and Jack Tuttle finished the game, and he did all right. Nothing really down the field.
Yeah, he's a 7th-year senior. Wow.
I feel like that's so not necessarily normal, but now it's not as unheard of as it once was. Yeah.
Yeah, with injuries and all that, and eligibility and all that. So yeah, pretty crazy. But yeah, kudos to Washington for getting it done. Who do they play next week?
UW plays. I know it's a good game.
I think it's on
Iowa.
Ooh, in Ames too, right?
That's always a tough place to play.
Bro, they're not winning that game.
Don't think so?
No. Now, Iowa, I do say their offense is pretty weak.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, we make weak offenses look strong.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So, and they're good. They got a good defense. So we got to be on our A game offensively. Jonah Coleman's got to get some yardage, right? And then, Denzel Boston and Giles Jackson and Travis Hunter gotta get it going.
I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
Don't expect a slugfest. If you're going to turn into that game and expect some excitement, you might be asleep by halftime.
9-7.
Something like that. 10-6, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the nitty gritty here in college football. The number 1 team, Alabama, lost to Vanderbilt, and it's so funny because Nick Saban had said pregame that the easiest place to play in the SEC was Vanderbilt. That aged really well, didn't it?
I think they heard that. Yeah. Look, I what I'm loving so far about college football is there's not one team who is just super inferior over the rest of the competition. I mean, I guess you can say Texas has been, but I don't know if Texas has played like a real juggernaut yet. Like, has really been
they won at Michigan.
Yes, besides that, Michigan.
At the big house. That says something.
It is. But I think I feel like it's not like how, Pep, we're by week 6, week 7, and Georgia and maybe somebody else has just dominated so far in college football. It's not really been that. I mean, just like you said, Alabama just lost after being ranked number 1 and beating Georgia. We saw Ole Miss, who I thought was going to be pretty good. We've seen them lose. But like I said, outside of Texas, I don't know if there's a team.
Tennessee lost.
Yes, Tennessee lost, who I thought was really good too. So it is, and it's also still a little early. I don't know. Like, I guess I would say Texas as of right now is my favorite to win the national championship, but I think it's super up in there, and I think it's perfect now that we'll get to possibly see the teams like the Boise States, maybe Army, who I've been watching, have been playing really well. Get into that.
Man, you mentioned Boise State. Boy, that running back Genty is amazing.
Yeah.
He's got over 1,000 yards in 5 games.
That's crazy. I remember just looking at his numbers, and I thought it was fake, and I thought like somebody was spreading false news on this guy, and then I had to do my research, and man, whatever they got going on, whatever.
I did the same thing. I was like, no way. Because they said, I watched last week. They said, he's got 845 yards in 4 games. I'm like, what? No way. Yeah. So I looked it up. I was like, oh, okay, he does. So, yeah.
I'm thinking I think they're maybe saying career, like not, in 4 games. That's beyond crazy. And I hope his name's getting put in there with the Heisman, because those are
he's the number 1 guy right now to me.
Yeah. Should be.
Jeez. Well, of course, they're saying
Shador, Travis.
Yeah, Shador and Travis.
Yeah.
I said Travis Hunter for Washington, but that's the other Hunter.
I thought there was another Travis Hunter.
What's his first name? I forget. My bad. But it's a Hunter. I know that.
Okay.
So, man, oh boy. But anyway, like what, 4 or 5 of the top 10 or 12 teams lost this past weekend. So that was. I kind of like seeing that sometimes. It's kind of interesting. As far as Texas is concerned, they got 2 quarterbacks. Usually when you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any, but they have legit 2 quarterbacks. So Ewers has been hurt, right? I think he's injured, a groin or something, like somewhere down in the lower extremity.
Yeah.
Now, if he comes back, should he get his starting job back? Or do you just stick with Arch Manning?
I mean,
Coach O.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to go with your leader of your team, and I think Arch Manning would definitely be understanding. I mean, he had no choice, but as long as he's 100% ready to go now, with Arch Manning playing the way he is, I'm not rushing. I'm in no need to rush. What's his name again?
Ewers.
Yeah, I'm not in no rush to rush Ewers back. I want him to be 100% when ready to go, but. I mean, he's played in big games. He's played in the college football playoffs. I mean, I can't take that away from him. Right. But it shows very well for down the road that Arch Manning will be QB number 1, and there will be no ifs, ands about it starting next year. Or if Ewers can't go for the rest of the season, this is his team, and he's shown so far that he's ready to go.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. As much as I like Arch Manning and what he's done. And, he deserves all the accolades he gets because he's really balling out. But you're right. It's been Ewers' team. And so, if he's healthy 100%, I'm putting him in there. Now, I won't say it's a short leash, but, if he has a bad game, you can't really hold it against him because he's been out, right? Mm-hmm. As long as they don't lose. I mean, if they're in jeopardy of losing, then you got to make that change. You can't mess around. But, as long as they win, he's still going to play. And then Arch is going to look. He's going to get his time. There's no doubt about it. And you know what? Speaking of that, UW uses both their quarterbacks,
Mhm.
right, in certain situations.
Mhm.
And at first, I didn't like it a lot at all because I went to the spring game and I saw Williams play the backup, and he was fast. He's really fast. He's a great runner, obviously, but I was not too impressed with his throwing and his accuracy.
That's fair.
However, now this past week when they played against Michigan, he actually threw the ball, and he looked pretty good. So I am more confident in him, especially for next year when he's going to take over. And so I'm really confident in that. And he looks like he's going to be dynamite as far as a kind of Lamar Jackson type of quarterback where you can run and throw, right? As long as you're accurate, right?
Yep.
So yeah, so they look like they have a gem coming in for Will Rogers after the season. But it's going to be interesting to see how that keeps developing as the season goes on between Will Rogers coming out and Williams coming in certain situations. And for a freshman, that's pretty impressive.
Yes, definitely. I don't care what spot you're getting put in, being in those types of games and making plays. That shows very high promise, and I'm interested in seeing him at QB1 next year as well too. But I like it. I like the packages. I like that a coach can utilize somebody's talents in whatever way possible. I'm all for that. So
yeah, and I'm really impressed with Denzel Boston, the wide receiver for Huskies, the number 1 guy or 1A. I was impressed with him in spring game. When I saw him, I said, "Well, there's your number 1 guy right there." During the spring game, and sure enough, he's become that. And I'm very happy that Giles Jackson seems to have finally fit in. It's taken him a little while, but he was playing behind Rome and Polk and McMillan, so it's kind of hard to get your time. So it wasn't his fault. It's not like he didn't have the talent. And just like Denzel Boston, it's not like they didn't have the talent. It's just that they had guys ahead of them.
Yep.
And no matter how good you are, a lot of times there's always somebody ahead of you, right? Especially in sports. So, kudos to them that they're getting it together. And so it's good that the Huskies have some young talent like that. Excuse me.
Have you watched any MLB baseball playoffs?
Yes, but before I get into that, I got to mention one more college football game. A lot of people probably don't know, but other than the Huskies, I do have another favorite team.
Really?
Yes, and that's the Miami Hurricanes.
Okay.
I've been liking them for a long time, but I just don't talk them up as much as I do, the Huskies, of course. They're my home team, so I do. But the Miami Hurricanes have been my team since the 80s when, they had all that, Schnellenberger and all that, and Michael Irvin and all those cats and all that crap, they went through. But I just liked them because they were so exciting and fun to watch. So,
yeah.
And so, anyway, I watched that game with Cal at the last quarter. Oh, my gosh. They were down 35-10.
Yeah, that's crazy. I thought that game was over the first time.
Yeah, everybody did.
I was like, wow. And I thought that was a possible upset. How Miami played the week before. Cal's been playing pretty well. Cal at home, they had ESPN there for Saturday, but it turned out to be a fun game. But I was definitely shocked Miami came back and won that game. And
Miami's got a wide receiver that I really like, Xavier Restrepo. He's been on my radar for a while. He's really good. He's a small kind of like Braxton Berrios type of guy for the Miami Dolphins. But Restrepo, I like him a lot. And, I could see him doing well in the NFL if he gets a good opportunity. So just shout out to my Canes for doing, coming back against Cal and beating the Bears 39-38.
Is Cam Ward the best quarterback in college, or is that Shador?
I like Milroe, even though he
Or Milroe too. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's like you could put those three in that box right there, and you could shake it up, and then pull one out and say, okay, yeah, I'll go with him, right? So yeah.
Didn't want to answer the question, but I'll take that answer. I'll take that answer.
Wow. Whoa, good one. I like that, man. Yes, sir. I don't know. I like Shador a lot, but he's got a lot of help with that Travis Hunter, man.
No, agree.
And then Jimmy Horn, I like him too. The other wide receiver for Colorado. So yeah, Shador definitely. But the thing is, he gets sacked a lot, right? And he runs into trouble a lot, a little too much for my liking as far as if I'm going to put him at the number one spot. But if somebody says that Shador Sanders is the best quarterback in college football, I can't dispute it, right? I mean, you can give some argument to the other two, but if you got a strong sentiment for him, okay, I'll accept it.
Yeah, I think your reason is why slightly will put Shador behind Cam Ward is I think too much Shador tries to make the big play, and it results in sack a lot. But the time that he does make the big play, which is why he is that guy. So either one of those two, I'm not mad at your answer.
Right. Yep. Cool. Now you mentioned the baseball playoffs. Yes, I watched a little bit of it, not a whole lot, but I did keep track of what's going on today. Right now, the Royals are up on the Yankees 4-1, and the series would be tied if the Royals win at 1 apiece. The Tigers did tie the Guardians today 3-0 after losing the first game 7-0.
Yeah.
And so that's what's going on in the ALDS. And in NLDS, the Mets and the Phillies are tied at 1. The Phillies had a thrilling 7-6 win yesterday. Castellanos ninth inning heroics. Really saved their bacon too, because they did not want to go down 2-0 to the Mets and go back to Citi Field in Queens and deal with that. So, and then of course in the National League, that's also 1-1 as the Dodgers beat the Padres in Game 1 7-5, and of course Mr. Shohei got the party started with a 3-run home run to tie it up in that game, and then they went on to win. In Game 2, it was all daddies. The Padres, yes, they won 10-2. But look, the Dodgers and the Padres are just like, they're big brother, little brother. Padres being the little brother, of course. So they got their licks in, and I expect the Dodgers to go into San Diego tomorrow and handle their business. I mean, we said we did get the first round, the wild card rounds correctly, right? We said
yes,
that
we did.
We said Detroit would beat the Astros, and they swept them. And now Kansas City and Baltimore, I think I was kind of like iffy on that, but KC swept Baltimore. And look, how we're Mariner fans. We're upset about our own team not making the playoffs, being terrible 22 out of the last 23 years as far as not making the playoffs. But how about being the Baltimore Orioles, where you win the division last year, you get swept out of the playoffs. You come in second, and so you get the wild card spot this year, and you get swept out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think when we did speak on this series, we did talk about how the Orioles' offense has been flat over the last month or two.
Yes.
And that's what happened in this playoffs. They scored 1 run over 2 games, and there's just too many weapons in that offense for that to happen over the last few months, and especially on this playing field. I don't know what they have to do, come back to the drawing board in the offseason, but they are too good, and their window is open right now for this to keep happening. They went out last offseason. They got their ace, and Corbin Burns. You still come in. You thought you'd mix in now some starting pitching with your great offense. Now the offense just goes flat line.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they go, because they have the bats. It's not that they don't have bats like the Mariners. It's the bats just went cold. And yeah, I think I did say the Astros. I thought with my brain the Astros were going to win, but I think we both said the hot teams coming in, they usually had a little bit of advantage. They jumped all over the Astros.
Man, I was loving it. I loved every second.
I did too. I actually
Astros did all that work to win the division, only to get swept out in 2 days.
Yep. and there's a name you spoke on that Padres Dodger series. There's a name of a kid who was once, and I think still is, I mean, clearly a high-level player, but he had that excitement, kind of like Julio and even Shohei when he came in the league of being the next one up with Aaron Judge and all those guys, and that's Fernando Tatis Jr.
Bro, I thought the Mariners should have made a trade for him when they had the chance.
Yeah,
when he was kind of on the sour end and down there for a little while, they were actually down on him, and I was like, man, they need to jump on that guy.
And I never once for me, it wasn't necessarily more about him getting in trouble. I was a little worried because he's kept getting hurt.
Right.
When he is healthy, he is one of the best players, especially hitters in baseball. And I think
2 home runs yesterday.
Yeah, he's hitting I think he's 800 right now in the playoffs so far, Pep. And I just want to give him his flowers and what's going on.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
series is going to be so fun to watch, man. And
I can't wait. They lost Juan Soto.
Yep.
And they still, and here they are back. Mariners can't. What's up with us?
I don't know, man. What is up with Aaron Judge and him being allergic to the playoffs?
Yeah, man, I don't know. It's like, in the regular season he's gangbusters, but in the playoffs he's not
one of the worst hitters. Yeah, he's one of the worst hitters in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's got nothing right now. And fortunately, so far Bobby Witt Jr. hasn't gotten it going either for the Royals. But right now it's about to be 1-1 if series wise if the Yankees don't get off the schneid here in the late innings here.
I don't know. I'm kind of worried about your Yankees here, Pep, in this series.
Yeah, you ain't the only one.
Yeah, if this offense can't get going against a feisty Kansas City Royals who has pretty good hitting, I don't know if they'll get
look, it won't get any easier because if Detroit gets in there and Tarek Skubal is pitching, you might as well count that a loss unless you can get him out of the game in the 6th or 7th. Let him pitch 100 pitches and he can't pitch in the 7th, 8th innings. Then you got a chance. But when he's in there, you ain't got a chance. You got no shot.
Has been lights out, and just like you said, it's almost now when he's on the mound, you can pretty much count that as a win. Today, he went, I think, 7 strong innings, didn't give a run, but they did the Tigers did what they were supposed to do come 8th inning. They helped him get a win off a 3-run home run.
Yep,
he's lights out right now, and that's what you want to see from Race in this atmosphere.
Absolutely. And then in the look, when you start for your starter, basically you need 6 good innings.
At least, yes, for sure.
And look, if you can get 7, sweet. But that's your goal, 6, and then hopefully 7, and then have your bullpen do their job and take care of business. That's what you need. So, and then, speaking of teams that do nothing in the playoffs lately, how about them Atlanta Braves? I mean,
yeah.
I will say this: ever since Ronald Acuna Jr. got hurt, they've been kind of they leveled off significantly. Because they could pitch around Matt Olson, right? And so he couldn't do the things that he was doing this year because they could easily pitch around him. He didn't get that opportunity.
Yeah.
He didn't get the pitches he liked, and with Acuna Jr. batting ahead of him. So, but the Braves and the Orioles are in the same type of situation. We're tired of seeing them in the playoffs and then bam, get put down immediately. They can't even get out of the wild card, which is ridiculous. For a team of that caliber. So, but anyway. All right. When we come back, we're going to get into some NFL, and is going to talk about some NBA preseason action. And we're going to talk about the WNBA playoffs as well. So don't go away. We will be right back.
Rainier Avenue Radio. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Love food? Here's some storage tips to keep it fresh longer. Store cut fruits and vegetables in the fridge. Place in reusable containers. Keep bread in the freezer for longer storage. 40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. Save money, save food, save the planet. Visit Seattle Public Utilities for more tips.
Hey y'all, it's Traffic Jam with Kareem.
Thursday at 4 p.m.
Hey, Traffic Jam. Rainier Avenue Radio. Download the app so you don't miss out what's popping on Crackle Shining. It's your boy, Cream the Dream, on another beautiful week on here on Traffic Jam in Seattle. I hope you guys doing what you're supposed to do, being you're supposed to be. I got a good show for y'all. A lot to talk about. Kareem the Dream, keep up with everything.
Get your entertainment news with Kareem on the Traffic Jam Thursday at 4 p.m.
1, 2, get down. What's up, big and little homies? This is Masvita Maraire, host of Seattle Sports Weekly on Rainier Avenue Radio World, your one-stop shop for Seattle sports. We cover preps, we cover college, we cover pro, we cover it all. Huskies, Mariners, Seahawks, Garfield, South, Roosevelt, Metro, King County. This is where you want to listen to for all the sports that's happening in Seattle. Seattle Sports Weekly on Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Support for Rainier Avenue Radio comes from Demetrius Jazz Alley. Thursday, October 3rd through Sunday, October 6th, Grammy-nominated honey-toned R&B soul singer Mice. Next to Jazz Alley, it's funk, Afrobeat, hip-hop, and spoken word trumpeter Keon Harold. October 8th and 9th, presenting his new release, Foreverland. One night only, on tour in support of his new release, Come On Home. Tickets and information at jazzalley.com.
Would you like to see when your favorite Rainier Avenue Radio show comes on? Check out our show schedule, updated weekly at rainieravenue.world.
Welcome back, everybody, to LidLine Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Oh, man, the NFL shenanigans, week 5. Every week it seems to get nuttier and nuttier. You figure as soon as you think you got something figured out, you find out you don't.
Oh, my.
Yeah, exactly. And to preface this, I will say tomorrow, sometime in the afternoon on Facebook, I will have my fraud report out. And man, look, there's some you could probably figure out in your head, who they're going to be. But I've got some that I didn't have last week in my head. I definitely got them in my head this week. Trust me.
I see now why people make fun of the NFL and call this stuff scripted.
Yes.
Because, man, this stuff does not make any sense
None
whatsoever. And, me, I'm a basketball guy. For the most part, if you got the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the Charlotte Bobcats, 9 out of 10 times, the Cleveland Cavaliers is going to win.
Yes.
You cannot say that in the NFL.
No.
Whatsoever.
It's ridiculous.
But I love it, though. I love it that you can actually watch a game and you're not super confident on who's going to win week in and week out.
Yeah. And the trap game is real.
Yeah.
Right? When folks started saying, oh, it's a trap game, I'm like, yeah, it can't be a trap game. This is the NFL, man. Everybody's prepared. Everybody's ready for everybody. Wrong.
Yep.
Wrong. There's trap games. And I'll be the first to admit that I was wrong and not thinking there was. It definitely is. Oh, before that, I want to do shout outs real quick to my man Bill Walker Jr., Michael Carter, Nancy Conyers, and of course Rhonda Dorsey. Yeah, Nancy is correct. The game was fun to watch. We're talking about we were talking about the Huskies and Michigan game earlier. Yeah. So,
not the Seahawks, man. That was not a watch.
In my head on like Friday, I said, I don't feel good about this game. As well as offensively they played against Detroit. The Giants have a good front seven on defense. And then, of course, I always mock Daniel Jones as a terrible quarterback. But we keep forgetting Seattle, once again, we make mediocre quarterbacks, Colt McCoy, now Daniel Jones, look like Joe Montana. We make average at best wide receivers, Darius Slayton, look like Jerry Rice. And then we make guys that you never heard of and rookies, Tyrone Tracy Jr. He ran for 129 yards in his first real action in the NFL.
That's 2 weeks now in a row, Pep.
That's pathetic, man.
It's 2 weeks now in a row that the defensive line has kind of gotten pushed around, and I'm worried. I'm worried, Pep. I don't want to see a habit of this, especially when these were problems that the Seahawks had last year. You just said it, especially against no-namers, and I'm not disrespecting anybody, but we all know, and I don't care what anybody says, Daniel Jones isn't a good quarterback in my opinion.
But we made him look. He looked great yesterday.
He did.
I mean, he looked. Man, I was like, wow. I mean, I was like, come on, man. This guy.
Yeah.
This guy. Seriously.
This was their first time scoring over 20 points. They only scored 20 points once so far. And the offense just moved against the Seahawks. It was like that all game. Oh
my God. They were just. It was like a hot knife.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. The running backs was just here. Come into the secondary and get 15 yards before somebody lays a glove on you.
Yep.
Right. And then they missed tackles galore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looked familiar. I'm like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
I know quite a few of them. I know we still got some guys that are hurt, but come on, man. This is football, right? This is the NFL. And there's no excuse for just laying out there missing tackles like they are.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. I got that feeling you got probably Saturday afternoon. And I just kept looking at the schedule for Sunday. And I was thinking about going to the game. So I was just doing my research. I'm like, do I really want to go watch them play the Giants? But then I'm just like, for the sake of it, I was just like, there's just something off about this game. There's no real energy to it, and that's usually when teams get caught from behind, and that's exactly what happened.
And the worst thing you could hear is like their main guy Malik Neighbors, the wide receiver, and then their starting running back is out. That's the worst thing you could hear because, I mean, for a team like the Seahawks, like if you're Kansas City or Detroit, you're glad to hear that. You don't care because your D is up to par. But when you're mediocre and up and coming, that's the worst thing you want to hear because you know the guy that's going to replace them. You don't know anything about him for the most part. Now, I know Darius Slayton is. He's been to the Giants. He's been with the Giants for several years.
Yeah.
And he's mediocre at best, right? He's okay. I mean, he's good enough to be in the NFL. I get that. But but when you're talking about wide receivers, you're talking about Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, DK, stuff like that, right? Those kind of names. You're not saying anything about Darius Slayton.
Yeah.
You're not hearing his name until like 20 or 30 wide receivers down the road. And he came in and torched Trey Brown. Trey Brown should have been sat down at halftime because he had no business being out there guarding anybody. He was terrible.
And what makes the loss even more frustrating is the San Francisco 49ers lost.
Yeah.
So you could have just
missed opportunity as usual.
Yeah. And now you got to go on a short week and play the 49ers.
Yep. Hey, listen, can we be? Can I be honest, bro? Can I? Is it okay? I know you're frozen. Can I be honest? Oh,
Yeah.
they're not winning Thursday.
Seahawks
I'm not mad at you. They're not.
I know
San
how
Francisco.
it goes.
Look, San Francisco's already upset, right? That they fooled around Sunday because they had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. They fooled around and lost that game. They're not going to fool around up here, right? And they already know they got Seattle's number. They're coming in here confident, rightly so. Now, could they overlook the Seahawks? Yeah, they could, and I'm hoping they do. But I don't see it. I don't see them losing to the Seahawks. And then guess what? You know who the Seahawks got to play next after that? They got to go to Atlanta to play Kirk Cousins and all those weapons.
Yeah.
So So it's not looking good as far as first place. It's going to be just like the Mariners. As soon as you give up first place, you ain't seen it again.
I'll tell you one thing. The 49ers will be very aware on Thursday. They understand. They understand what's going on. They understand they're 2-3 right now, and they need to turn it
and you
around.
know who else they're aware of? They're aware of the fact that DK Metcalf can't hold on to the ball. So if he continues to get sent down the middle, right, crossing route, and gets hit several times, they're going to be after that thing like you wouldn't believe.
That guy.
If I was the Seahawks, I would keep him on the outside. I would not send him in interior at all. I'd leave that up to Tyler and JSN and Fant. I'd send them. I'd give them the crossing routes. I'd keep DK on the outside. That way, if he does fumble, that's going out. Hopefully, if he does, it's going out of bounds, right?
I just don't get that guy, and it's super frustrating. This how he fumbles and making the same mistake over and over, and for him to be such a talent, it's really frustrating because they're costly. They're all costly turnovers.
Yes, they're drive killers, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they were moving the ball, heading. They were probably going to get a touchdown because the way they were moving the ball with ease, and that just ruined everything.
Yep.
I mean, they lost all the mojo after that.
Mm-hmm.
It happened in Detroit. It happened here again. So they cannot afford to do that against San Francisco. If they got any kind of momentum, rhythm going on against the Niners, they got to keep their foot on their throat. They can't be letting up and doing stupid stuff because look.
No, they leave you breathless, Pep. I get it, and now I look at their schedule. Their next 4 games are tough, and I'm including the Rams because it's a division.
Absolutely.
Game. So
they haven't shown they could beat the Rams, whatever their record is.
Exactly. So it's that's why that Giants game, just like I said, I can't take that, the Seahawks played terribly on defensively, but the Lions are a really good team. But to come back knowing that you have a tough stretch coming up, you're supposed to dominate the Giants at home and get some momentum going into this tough stretch. But now here we are again.
A team that's shorthanded.
Exactly.
Their best receiver and the best running back, but they didn't get missed at all, and that's sad.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't missed at all. It's like, oh my God, what if they had them too? Oh my, sheesh, it might have been 40-20 or something. Well, we probably wouldn't have even got 20. And then so here's the main issue today with yesterday's game is the fact that Ken Walker only had 5 carries.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't run the ball. They got away from the run game. And even Coach McDonald said in his presser or interview today on a radio show that they need to get the ball to Ken more. Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes there's games that have each game has its own identity, especially at the very start. And there's times where running the ball isn't your best option at the time that you need to, make a play.
Yep.
And Geno, they wanted to get Geno going early. That was the first philosophy thought entering this game. They probably, with the Giants, maybe they probably should have rethought that Maybe they should have got the run. I think they should have probably got the run going first, right? And get the front seven bearing down on the run, and then play some play action.
Yeah.
Off of that, I don't, it's hard to decipher the Seahawks sometimes because, like Pete, his last few years here, well, he was predictable as the fact that when the first plays of the game, run, right?
Yep.
And we got tired of that. Now it's pass, and folks are getting frustrated with that. So what is it we want, right? Do we want to run, or do we want to pass? No, we want balance. What we want is success in the pass, success in the run. We want to get the run game going, right? Get some first downs, and then go to play action and do some damage there. That's what we want.
Agree. I got a question, Pep.
Yes.
Who has been the more impressive undefeated team? The Kansas City Chiefs or the Minnesota?
Not even close. Minnesota. and it's not the fact that their play is so impressive. It's the fact that, well, they beat in San Francisco, so you gotta say they're legit, right? You can't say, well, they didn't beat nobody. Well, they beat San Francisco, and they went to Green Bay last week and beat the Packers in Lambeau. Okay, and they were projected to be last place. So nobody had the Minnesota Vikings at 5-0 on their bingo card. Nobody, not me, not you, not any of the experts.
Nope.
None of them.
Nope.
So I'm giving them their flowers. Right now, they look like the best team in the NFC. Sam Darnold, look, the light has finally come on for some of these. I told you the last couple of weeks, sometimes the light comes on late for guys, and it came on late for Baker Mayfield. Now he's on with a team that he's doing great in because he fits that scheme. They love him, right? He feels wanted there. He's not under any pressure. And he's balling. Sam Darnold, same thing. No J.J. McCarthy, he got hurt. Sam Darnold knows the job is his. So now all he has to do is not make stupid mistakes. And he hasn't. When he's with the Jets, he said he was seeing ghosts out there. Yeah, because the Jets didn't have a scheme. They didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah. I think you also said it too. I mean, there was no expectations coming to the season for the Minnesota Vikings. You just play freely, play with a clear mind. You just go out there and play football, and whatever happens, and you leave it all out there. And that's how Minnesota is playing. But I agree with you, Pep. They have been really impressive and fun to watch. The Minnesota Vikings.
And they got the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Exactly. Yep.
I mean, I love Chase. I like some of the other. I like a lot of other guys. Nico Collins from Texans. I like him. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's my guy in Detroit. But Justin Jefferson is clearly, to me, the number one wide receiver in the NFL. And if you want to argue, then talk to your mama, because I'm not going to argue with you. Because it's Justin Jefferson and then everybody else.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the NFL. And then there are, I won't say others, but he is clear one. There's no 1A, 1B in my opinion as well.
And then probably Jamar Chase, probably number 2, or somewhere 2 through 5, you could probably interchange guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's how I feel. I want to discuss something real quick. I'm hearing some talk about Geno wanting a new contract, and people were saying, "Oh, he deserves a new contract." Can we slow down and pump the brakes, please? Geno is 30. What is he? 35. He's in his mid-30s, for one thing. And what has he done?
33.
That's going to deserve a $40 million contract or whatever. Look, if he wants that money, he's going to have to take my team to a nice regular season. He's going to have to get me into the playoffs, and he's going to have to win me a playoff game.
Bingo.
And then I'll talk. Then I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm giving you your whatever you. Well, not whatever, but I'm giving you a range commensurate with other quarterbacks that at your level or that's doing what you're doing. But not right now. I'm not doing it. And if he wants to keep crying, then you know what? By the end of the year, adios. I don't need this. Sam, there you go. Pick up a football. Let's go.
Yeah. Look, you hit it right on the head with the last thing you said. Get me to the playoffs and win a playoff game. And Geno Smith hasn't done that. I respected the contract that he got the first time around, but there is no need to be in no rush on forking over another contract to Geno Smith right at this moment. I don't know if the Seahawks are if they were in my opinion, a contender where you know that they're going to compete for a Super Bowl this year. I don't know if they're there. Then maybe we could talk. And like I said, we're still talking about possibly not. We're still possibly trying to get in the playoffs. So it's not like we started out 4 or 5-0 like the Vikings, and they're just chugging along. Even though yes, Geno Smith is playing lights out and is playing really well, but you know me, Pep. I'm playing to win championships. I'm not playing just to be just solid or good or just get there and then that's it every season. And so until Geno proves that, then we can talk.
Yeah, 8 to 10 wins is not warrant that big deal. I'm sorry, it's just not. And let me tell you, missed opportunity by him yesterday. If Geno Smith wants big money, he would have led that drive not for a field goal, but a touchdown.
Agree.
Last night, against my Pittsburgh Steelers, the Dallas Cowboys needed a touchdown in the worst way in order to win that game. Dak Prescott drove them down the field and got them that touchdown they needed. That's why you pay him the money he's paid. Do we think it's too much? Heck yeah. But you know what? He earned it yesterday because he did what he was supposed to do. They were down 4. They needed a touchdown. Voila. He got them that touchdown. Geno Smith was down, got him to field goal range, okay? Which for some folks, that's fine. No, it ain't fine. Because if you want that money, you got to take them all the way down the field and score a touchdown.
Yep. I agree.
And you see what happened when they tried to go for the field goal. Now they're crying about a guy breaking the rules or whatnot. Well, you shouldn't have been in that position where that had to happen.
Yep.
Stuff happens in the NFL, folks. It don't go your way every time. You know, look, the Giants could have cried because to me, Eric Gray, I can't remember his first name. I think it's Eric, but I thought he crossed the line when he fumbled the ball. Right when he fumbled, I thought he was crossing the line. All you need is a little nose of the football hit that line. That's a touchdown.
Yep.
But they gave it to us. You know, we picked it up. Rayshon Jenkins ran 102 yards. I took it. I'm like, cool. Maybe things will turn out to be good after all. No, it didn't turn out that way at all. And I should have known that by what happened, right? And we let them drive down the field like nothing. You know, we made Joe Montana out there picking up the part, you know, and Jerry Rice out there and Roger Craig over there running all over us. Man, what the heck? I thought those days were over. But, you know, look, I got to be honest. I got to be fair, right? If you're going to – he took over a team, McDonald, I'm speaking, the head coach. He took over a team that had the worst defense in the league.
Yep.
So he's made some changes personnel-wise on the defense to try and get better. And it's going to take time, folks. Let me give you this. When the Detroit Lions hired Dan Campbell, he was 3-12 in his first year.
Yep.
Second year, he lost the first 5 games. They were 0-5 before the light came on, and they just started rolling. It takes time. It's not instantaneous. We played Detroit the other day, and we're all like, oh, my God, Detroit's this and that and the other. You know, they were half game away from the Super Bowl, right? But that takes time. It's not instantaneous. You got to give this guy some time. You can't kill him because he doesn't have the personnel he actually probably wants right now, right? Yes, there's going to be some changes made here, there, and the other, But eventually, once he gets some of the guys, some of the horses to run his track, then you'll see some changes. Because look, I definitely believe in him defensively, but he does not have the personnel to be the dominant defender he wants his team to be, and he knows that.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen flashes for sure so far this
Absolutely.
season. Improvement. So, yeah, it doesn't happen all in 4 or 5 games or even the whole season, especially when, like I said, a brand new offense and a guy who is a new coach and a new NFL head coach taking over a team that has had a head coach for the last, I don't even know how many years. Just everything is new, just like you said. So,
yeah. I mean, like I said, the last 2 years, Seattle's been either the worst or second worst defensive team in the NFL. So if he comes in here and they're the 20th, that's improvement.
Yeah.
Right? And then the second year, then you try, if he gets to be 20, middle of the pack, that's improvement.
Yeah.
But in the following year, if he can get into the top 15 defensively, that's in the right direction. That's what because you're not going to go from 32nd to number 2 in the NFL in 1 year. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not.
You got to have the personnel that you want in order to get that done. And that doesn't come in just 1 year. It takes time. So let's give him some time. And, look, we also don't want to see a regression either.
Yes.
Right? During the season, we don't want him to see the same old, this, that, and the other. So, but I'm willing to give this guy some patience because, I'm clowning myself now, but, you look at what the Washington Commanders are doing right now. They're 4-1, killing folks, right? I don't know how they lost that one game, but, man, they're steamrolling right now.
Yeah.
They made the Browns look like a high school team yesterday. And I'm the first one to say, man, I'm glad Dan Quinn didn't come here. And I still am. I'm glad Dan Quinn, because look, if Dan Quinn was coaching this particular team, we'd be in the same position. I think we might even be worse.
Agree. Pep, did you get to see LeBron James and his son step on the court for the first time together in the Lakers jersey?
I didn't. Tell me about it.
I just thought it was so cool. And, as this process keeps going on, I know people have their opinions about if Bronny James Jr. should be in the league right now. He's played 2 preseason games, a couple points, a lot of turnovers, which is expected from a lot of young players. Is he not ready yet? No. But to see him step out there with arguably one of the best players to ever play a game, as his dad, being on the court together in a Lakers jersey, I thought that was super cool to see against my sons. And the Lakers actually did look pretty good in the first half as well, too. So that'll definitely be an interesting story as the season goes on with the Lakers. How do they work with LeBron James Jr. and his development? How long does he stay in a Lakers jersey? Or is he going to the G League? Even how JJ Redick just implements his self as the Lakers' new head coach. So I thought that was pretty cool to see. Everything else so far, just like you said, preseason just getting started. We saw the Boston Celtics take on the Denver Nuggets in Abu Dhabi as the first preseason game. So it's the preseason in the NBA is pretty boring in my opinion, Pep. A lot of people hasn't played yet. Cool. So far so early, but we got 2 weeks and then it's game on.
Cool. Real quick, the WNBA playoffs played out exactly how we said it would in the first round. And second round, the Liberty dispatched the Aces, which was a surprise. They beat them in 3 games to 1. And right now, the Lynx and the Sun are tied at 2-2. And the Game 5 finale is tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. So please, on ESPN2, you might not want to miss that one. I got the Lynx winning that one in a squeaker.
Okay, I didn't even know that. Thanks for letting me know. Now I got to.
Yep. Okay, everybody. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it very much. We'll be back next week for more LidLine Sports as you see it, as we see it. What am I saying? Just below this lid. Holla.